Tell me about something that still gives you nightmares. And if you're sensitive to childhood encounters, just go ahead and scroll now. But don't worry, I'll tell you my story first. Some hospital stories just don't leave you when you leave the building. When I was about 6 or 7, my dad was in and out of the hospital for different reasons, but one visit just stuck with me. He had a massive heart attack, and we were there probably for days, but it felt like months. I'm not even going to lie because I was so young. And then on top of that, I was only allowed up to the unit for a little bit of time because of my age. So I spent a lot of my time smelling disinfectant and burnt coffee down in the waiting room. And that is where I met Gemma. She was my age. She was quiet. She was pale. We didn't sit with the other kids. We just kind of sat off to the corner, coloring, minding our business. We was like the cool girls. So one thing I noticed that I never met Gemma's parents. She seen my mom come down. She knew my dad was in the ICU. And 2, nobody ever came and looked for her. But as kids, we don't think about that. We don't. So one afternoon, she looked at me and she said, "You want to see where I live?" And I told her I wasn't allowed to leave the hospital. And she smiled like, "It's okay. You'll be back before your mom shows up." That's all she had to say. So she stood up and she walked towards the stairwell and I followed. And the stairwell was dim. And it was cold in a way that just didn't feel like air conditioning. It felt more like you were standing like next to that Arctic cold weather, like dead cold. And as we went down the stairs, our footsteps just seemed to echo louder and louder and louder as we went down, down, and down. And I thought we were going to get caught. Then we get to the basement and the walls are painted like that sickly yellow over the cinder blocks and stuff. And I'm just looking like, this is so weird because it was like the hallway stretched down super far. And it was just a whole bunch of different hallways that came off that one hallway. And then suddenly Gemma just took off running. So of course I sprinted after her. I called her name, but she didn't answer. She just disappeared around the corner. And when I turned the corner, the door slammed. And I ran to it, and on the floor, I could see like footprints going into the room, but the door was locked. And that's when I heard it. Footsteps coming from a different direction. And then a wheel rolling, like, something was being rolled down the hallway. And then a nurse appeared, and she was pushing a stretcher with a sheet draped over it. And when she saw me, her face drained of all color. I instantly knew that something was wrong. And she looked at me like, "What are you doing down here?" And so I'm looking for my friend Gemma. And as I'm saying that, she's going to reach for me. She kind of even paused when I said Gemma. And then she snatched my wrist and took me back to the waiting room. Now, she didn't say anything to me, but as we went back, I started realizing there are no yellow walls here. There are no yellow painted cinder blocks on our way back to this waiting room, right? Get back to the waiting room. I hear her talking to the ward clerk. And from what I did hear, she's like, "Gemma is back. And now she's luring kids down to the morgue." I never followed anyone else in the hospital again if they didn't have on a badge. If this story unsettled you, make sure you share it because some memories just don't stay buried unless we talk about them. Have your best spooky day. Bye.